Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 4. My idea for this episode was to talk about how to get into our bodies. Um, I know there's going to be jokes about that, but what I mean is our nervous systems, a lot of us, we're very sensitive, and our nervous systems are stressed out all the time. And it's almost like there's these different pieces of ourselves. Like we have our mind has a soul, and our heart has a soul, and our body has a soul, is kind of one way I think about it. And sometimes we're so in our heart, in our head, and so in our emotions that we kind of like lose touch with what's happening in our body. And I wanted to talk about ways to kind of like come back to earth, get grounded. So the first thing I want to say is we live in a very stressful world. We were not designed for this. Ancestrally, like you would be stressed out about like food in your immediate area, like I don't know, like the deer haven't been there in a few weeks, like there's no food here. Now it's like with news, we're not only worried about our own bubble, but like, what's going on in Afghanistan, and, there's flooding over here and fires in California. And it's like we're feeling that collective pain all the time. And we're also not designed to like work all the time like we do. Like ancient people only worked like I think it's like 3 to 5 hours a day. We're big mammals. We're big mammals. Big mammals don't work all day. We're not bees or ants. But like we feel like we're supposed to be like these like buzzing, busy animals, and we're really not designed for it. So there's a lot of stress to deal with. We're sensitive on top of it. The world is stressful. Our jobs are stressful. It's a lot. So one thing that I think gets mentioned a lot is meditation. There's so many different kinds. I think if you struggle with meditation, there's so many guided meditations. There's apps you can do. There's a lot of ways to meditate. As far as getting into your body, I think mindfulness is really helpful. The way I think about mindfulness is just using all your senses. So one thing I'll do is I'll lay on the couch and I'll like look at 5 small details. Like I'll just like look at like a loose thread on the rug or a wrinkle on the couch. I'll change my perspective too. Like sometimes like I'll hang upside down or lay on the floor because then I'm looking at things differently from angles that I'm not used to seeing them at. I listen for 5 sounds. I try to feel 5 textures, or I pay attention to like where my body is touching the furniture. Like feel my tongue on the roof of my mouth. Just try to feel five places on your body that you have sensations. So sounds, sights. I'll like see if I taste anything or smell anything. Usually I don't, but I still like try to use those senses. I like doing this on walks too, not just like at home, like when I'm like trying to meditate, but if I go for a walk. Think about kids, like they want to touch the moss and pick up rocks. And when we get older, we kind of stop doing that. Kids are using all their senses. They're like smelling the flowers. So just, yeah, walks are a great time to practice mindfulness as far as your senses go. And the other thing that I think helps is just focusing on the present moment instead of thinking about the past or the future. And that's way easier to say than to do. It's taken me a lot of practice. Like logically, I know what that means, but it's taken me so much practice to actually like do that. It's so hard. It really is. But it's worth trying. to just focus on like in this moment. And there's an affirmation I use that helps me with that. It's, in this moment I am safe. And because like logically I know I'm safe, but it's like my nervous system doesn't know. So it's just like, in this moment I am safe. But a lot of the times I'm worried about someone else, somewhere else, who like could be in a crisis or something. So then I take it even farther, and the affirmation is, in this moment, in this location, I am safe. No matter what's going on in the world, in this place where I am physically, I am safe. I've talked about diaphragmatic breathing in another video, but I'll mention it again because it's been so helpful for me. A therapist gave this tool to me, a CBT therapist that I went to for anxiety. And the way she explained it was, there's kind of two different ways you can breathe. You can breathe in your chest, and you can breathe in your diaphragm, in your belly. And the chest breathing is how we breathe when we're getting ready for fight or flight. And like you feel like exasperated, and like it feels kind of heavy. It's getting your lungs ready to act. And diaphragmatic breathing is like how a baby breathes when it's like sleeping nice and peacefully. It's like breathing in your belly. So a way that you practice that is you put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, around like under your belly button. And you just practice like keeping this hand still and just feeling your bottom hand moving up and down. So every morning what I do is I lay on the couch and I do mindfulness, and then I do diaphragmatic breathing, and I like think affirmations to myself while I'm doing breathing. Not every morning, that's a lie, but I try, and I do think it helps. Moving your body is another thing, just any kind of moving at all. I mean, you can go for a walk. I hate dancing in public. I don't do it. Like, I go to weddings, I do not dance. But I did start dancing like alone in my room. If I haven't exercised at all that day, if my body is just like tired and it's like I don't want to move, then I just play one song and I just dance to one song, and that's it. Ecstatic dance is getting popular. That's kind of just like dancing freely to like very like trance-like music. That's kind of the same idea. It's just like moving for the sake of movement. A lot of us have tense or stressed relationships with our bodies. I definitely do. I feel like when I'm sick, it's like my body's working against me. Like, why are you doing this to me? And I'm trying to like be conscious of that and like make friends with my body, and like ask it what it needs and like tell it that I want to take care of it. That I think comes up a lot with like body issues and things. Like, we want to look a certain way. What I've seen from conversations online too is that INFs, we don't really like rigorous exercise. We don't like really competitive exercise. We don't like really rigorous exercise. So I try to think of it less as like how I want to look or like accomplishing this intense goal, and just doing what feels good to my body. Just kind of like asking my body what would feel good and trying to do that. Something nice you can do for your body is just like try to eat a healthy breakfast. Like, even if you don't eat anything else healthy that day, just starting the day, just making your first step something nice for your body, I think is like a good habit that's going to build on itself. Like, it kind of leads you down this path of eating healthier in general, even if you're not really like being intentional about it. And I stretch every morning too. I stretch just to like do something nice for my body to make it feel good. There were some sports that INFs seem to have in common that I thought was interesting. A lot of people said that they like badminton. which I loved. I loved badminton in gym class. I loved playing that. I loved just smacking the crap out of that birdie. Yeah, I don't know. So that was one. Soccer was mentioned some, basketball, hockey, and rollerblading. I'm curious if this group that's listening has any sports in similar in common too. But also there's like yoga is a big one. That kind of like more gentle, slow movement seems to be pretty popular with us as far as like a way to connect with our bodies. There's also like Reiki. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You know, all those kind of like body-centered healing style activities are just like it seems like we like gentle things, you know, things that just feel nice, not things that like feel really intense. Just making sure you're getting enough food and enough sleep is another thing. If you're not getting enough food and sleep, like that's really going to kind of like detach you from your body. I feel like kind of like when you don't make your body like a nice habitat for your soul like tries to leave and it causes all these problems. I'm saying that like metaphorically. I wish I had like a more concrete way to explain that, but hopefully someone knows what I'm talking about. So just eating and getting enough sleep. Like if you're stressed out, like when I'm stressed out, sometimes it's like eating healthy has to go out the window. I just have to make sure I'm eating something. So just like giving yourself those permissions, like eating something is better than eating nothing. And we think like, I feel like 8 hours of sleep is like the standard. But highly sensitive people, we can actually use more sleep. Like, just let your body sleep as much as it wants to. Try. Instead of setting an alarm, or if you have to set an alarm, just like try to go to bed, like try to leave room for 9 or 10 hours. And maybe you'll wake up after 8, but I started doing this and sometimes I sleep 9 or 10. Just try to like leave room for your body to get as much sleep as it wants instead of like planning how much sleep you're going to get. But I mean, I think if you're getting less than 8, 8's a good thing to aim for to start with. Another thing I wanted to talk about is grounding. I forget the name of the tool. So my dad had this thing that measured voltages. I want to call it a voltmeter. I don't know if that's right. But he got it for Christmas. My dad is like very concrete reality. Like he thinks the stuff that I talk about is Psychobabble. Like, so that's where I got the name for this channel. But we would touch, it has like this wand that measures voltages, and we would touch it with our hand, and his voltage was the highest. We all had different measurements, and then we noticed whoever had the lowest, it might have been me or my mom, wasn't wearing shoes. So then he took his shoes off and his voltage dropped. So it sounds bizarre to say like if you connect with the ground, it like discharges energy. But I mean, get a voltage thing and play with it if you want. I don't know. That's what happened. I don't know what to tell you. So, just laying on the ground, being barefoot, things like that, I think help too. I think something else about being barefoot is like it's activating pressure points on your feet that aren't normally activated. Like when you have shoes on, you don't really feel a lot. But if you're walking barefoot, like you're feeling the grass on your feet, like anything that like gives your body nice sensations, it's like takes you out of your head and it's like, oh, I feel something on my foot, but it feels good. So just kind of like touching your nerves in new ways, in like pleasant, new, different ways that you're not used to feeling, I think helps. Like swimming and showers are another thing I think is helpful, because like you have this sensation of like all the water hitting you or like flowing over your skin and the hair on your body, like your mind goes there instead of like out here to all these problems. Cold water helps too. I hate colds. But what I started doing is I'll take a hot shower, and then after I've had my hot shower, then I just like slowly inch the water colder to a point where it's not cold yet, it's still comfortable. But that cold water on your face activates like this diving reflex that calms your nervous system down. You can hold like a cold washcloth on your face. Some people who are really dysregulated will hold ice cubes, and that helps their nervous system like slow down. Drinking something cold helps your nervous system slow down. So water and cold can help. There's also a nerve you can massage that slows your nervous system down. The holistic psychologist has a video about it, but there's this point in your ear right here inside the top ridge. There's like a divot, and then right outside your ear canal, right above the bottom ridge is another place, and you can just like do gentle circles there, and that's supposed to help. Don't press really hard, just be gentle with it. That's supposed to calm your nervous system down. It's called the vagus nerve. EFT tapping is another thing I've heard of. I don't remember the points that you tap, but there's videos out there on it. I think there's like places on your head you tap that help calm your nervous system down. It's called EFT tapping, and you can Google it. Someone else can explain it better than I can, I'm sure. If you have like body image issues, I don't know if this is good advice or not. It's something I think is helpful depending on who you are, is just saying I love you to the mirror, just looking in the mirror and telling yourself I love you. I think this is tricky because if you have issues, I think all of us have body image issues, first of all. I mean, the media like pretty much guarantees that, but I think there's like this reaction where if we do that, we're going to feel like we're lying to ourselves. And that's actually going to trigger us to feel like resistance and tense in our bodies. And so I'm conflicted on this one because I think if you do it enough for long enough, you will start to believe it, like any other affirmation. But we also want to be conscious of how our body feels. And if our body feels like tense, if it feels like we're like trying to like lie to ourselves, it might not be time to try that. I'm really not sure. I really don't know. So check in with yourself and see if that feels right or not. I think it depends on the person. But the being aware of the body sensations, I do think is important. I think we're really out of touch with this stuff a lot of the time. Like if we're talking to someone and our throat gets tight, like I always feel stress in my back. Like the muscles in my back get tense, and then it like makes my spine crunch down, and it really hurts. Like sometimes some people get like nauseous in their stomach. There's all these sensations that like your body sends you signals of like I'm uncomfortable or that hurt, and we're kind of, I think I got to the point where I was kind of oblivious to it. Like I would know my back hurt, but I wouldn't pay attention to like, oh, like there's the button. Shame is a big one. Like if somebody tries to like shift blame onto us or to shame us or guilt trip us about something, that's a big one. So the slower you get and the more aware you get, I think the more you're going to notice when things like that happen. And I think the first step is just being aware of it and noticing it. Like, oh, I didn't like how that felt. And then as you learn boundaries, you can kind of start to speak up, or you can be like, I don't want to put myself in that situation again, or how can I avoid feeling that way? Just kind of like be your own best friend. Notice when something doesn't feel good and try to really like nurture yourself and look for ways to make yourself feel good or to keep yourself from feeling like those twinges. One last thing from my therapist for anxiety and depression was exercising 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week. She said there's a study out there that says that's really all you need to combat, not combat depression, but it has effects similar to antidepressants. Just 30 minutes of exercise 4 times a week. So, instead of like getting abs, just like if you make your goal, like I want to feel good. And to feel good, I just need to try to at least walk 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week. Just make it really easy, because when you make your goals easy and you accomplish them, then that triggers those feel-good chemicals. Then you're going to want to keep exercising 5 or 6 days sometimes. Sometimes you're not, and that's okay. Like, we're these big animals under a lot of stress. We really need a lot of rest and relaxation. Our society is not, like, very accepting of that, but we really do. Like, and we're sensitive on top of it. So humans need rest and relaxation. Highly sensitive people need even more than that. So, like, don't feel guilty about relaxing. Make the goal really easy. Like, just eat a grape, like with your breakfast, like one grape. Like, eat whatever else you want, but at least put one piece of fresh fruit in your mouth, or just walk 4 days a week, or just like dance to one song. Just make it really easy. I'm curious if anyone else has things that like help them connect with their body. Like, I want to know all the strategies, because I want to spread all the strategies, especially from INF people, because I think what works for us is usually different than the general advice that's out there, because it's not written by us, it's not written for us. I think our experiences are unique in a lot of ways. So yeah, thanks for listening, and hopefully I will be back in a week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.